I think despite school being filled with some of the most annoying people, getting assigned a bunch of homework before the weekend, and having to wake up at 6 in the morning just to be surrounded by a bunch of people yelling for literally no reason, there's still some things that I think we can all agree are pretty cool about it. Starting off with something that is universally liked, I mean, unless you have summer school, but summer break, and basically any break in general, like winter break or spring break, it's basically what you look forward to from the beginning of January. Like, you just come back from winter break and all you can think about is being off from school again because the second half of the year is low-key boring and just drags on forever. And I guess summer technically isn't part of school, but it just feels so refreshing, especially that first week after. Like, there's no better feeling than waking up on a random Tuesday and not having to worry about anything school related or having to deal with anyone from there in general. I'm not even a big night owl either, but being able to basically stay up as long as you want just hits different though, especially with your friends. That first week of summer is generally one of the best feelings you can experience as a student, and I don't think anything really compares to it unless you're employed. This kind of ties into my next thing, which is the last day of school. And even the last week before the break too is peak. Like, people you didn't even know in your class start talking out of nowhere, and everything just feels jolly. It's just good vibes all around no matter what. The energy on the last day is something else because even the teachers seem relieved, and everyone is just in a good mood for once. And the last week specifically is where everything just loosens up. Teachers stop really teaching, people are just talking, goofing around, and it feels like the rules just kind of stop applying for a few days. I've never been the person to be sad on the last day though. I love my friends, but respectfully, I'll see you on the game or in person if we plan something. Get me out of that school. Probably the only thing that sucks is it being midsummer and already seeing back to school ads though. That just puts me in a bad mood immediately, dude. Like, let me enjoy my time in peace, bro. I don't need to be reminded that this is temporary while I'm still in it. The start of August just sucks, bro. I'm sorry. Field day during elementary was awesome too because obviously it's probably your last time having recess most likely, and you just get to hang out with your friends all day. I looked forward to it every single year during elementary school and it never disappointed. I think no matter what, even if you didn't like sports, there was so much variety with all the games. Like, even if you didn't like any of them, you could still just hang out with your friends. One of the good things that occurred though was group projects, but with friends specifically. Because with group projects in general, with randoms, it honestly is a better experience for the actual project and you're probably going to get a better grade, assuming you're with actually competent people. But when you're with all your friends, let's be real, no work is getting done. You're probably going to be goofing around the entire class period and playing games for the next few days, and somehow convincing yourselves that you'll have time to finish it later. But then the night before the project is due, everyone just logs in out of nowhere and somehow pulls it together. Something else that's pretty universal is just gaming after finals are over. The amount of joy it brought me to be done with all my classes basically, and getting to do absolutely nothing but play games with cinema. There would be people bringing their consoles to school, and we'd be playing Mortal Kombat in my physics class. The whole vibe of finals week, and everyone just deciding to do nothing productive for the rest of the school year is low-key peak. Having a chill cell with a class that you despise is also such a good feeling, because I'm not saying you can do whatever you want, don't be a degenerate student, but it's just so much more calm. You don't have to deal with someone in your ear yelling for no reason about why you didn't show work for one problem. The relief of walking into a class you hate and seeing a substitute teacher sitting there instead of your regular teacher is generally one of the best feelings school has to offer. I will say though, I don't understand some people who just act up because the sub's there. Like, yeah, I'm happy too, but apparently from what my friend told me, they were throwing stuff like pencils at the sub for literally no reason. And you can only guess what happened when the actual teacher came back. I genuinely don't understand it, but yeah, having a chill sub is usually great. Just don't be overboard with anything because you're only making it worse for yourself at that point. Now, those days where you would watch a movie in class is just a classic. It didn't really happen that often, at least for me, but it was still cool. Everyone gets comfortable, people start pulling snacks out of nowhere, and for like an hour and a half, nobody has to think about anything academic, and it's just so relaxing. And it doesn't even matter what the movie is half the time. Like, even if it's some random documentary that has nothing to do with what you're actually learning, it's still better than a regular lesson by default. The best version of this is when the movie actually hits and you're not expecting it at all. I gotta say, shout out to my teacher who put on Cars during my 7th grade science class. You're the go, bro. Free periods and study halls also need to get their credit because when you actually have a decent group of people, those become some of the best periods of the day. Like, it's supposed to be time to do homework and catch up on work, but realistically, it just turns into a talking, playing games on your Chromebook, or doing literally anything except what you're supposed to be doing. The teacher who runs it is usually pretty relaxed too, which just adds to the whole energy of it. Some of my best random conversations happen during study hall because you have nothing to do and all the time in the world to just talk about whatever comes to mind, and it actually ends up being memorable. School trips are also something I have to bring up because a good field trip is honestly peak school experience material. The bus ride there and back is honestly sometimes better than the actual destination because everyone is just in a good mood. People are talking across seats to people they don't normally talk to, and it just feels like a completely different world from the normal school day. And if the school trip actually goes somewhere interesting, then it's just an automatic win. Especially if one of your friends had their parent as a chaperone. When a teacher cancels a test or a quiz last minute is also something that I think deserves a spot on this list because the relief that hits you in that moment is unreal. Like, you've been stressing about something all day, maybe you studied, you probably didn't, let's be honest. And then you walk in and the teacher just says we're pushing it back or we're not doing it anymore. And the entire class just exhales at the same time. There's not much more stuff that I was more relieved of than this. Like, this is just something that lowers your cortisol like crazy. Snow days or any bad weather day in general also needs to be mentioned because there is generally no better feeling as a kid than waking up, checking your phone, or having your mom or dad tell you that school is canceled. Like, nothing else in the entire year compares to that specific feeling. You know, you go to bed the night before, stressing about whatever tests or an assignment you had due, and then you wake up, and just like that, that entire day is wiped clean, and you have absolutely nothing you gotta do. Well, at least that's how it used to be before COVID. Yeah, now everything's online. It's still an unmatched feeling though. And I think what made it even better was the anticipation the night before. Like, you'd be watching the weather and refreshing the group chat to see if anybody saw anything first. And when you would wake up and the schools in your area started giving off that notification out one by one, the day itself was just pure freedom too. To be honest, it just felt longer, probably because I was already awake earlier, but it just felt like there was so much more time to do the things that I actually liked. Don't get me wrong, with summer though, it's the same, but it just hits different when it's during school and you have an actual day off during the week. Or specifically Friday, because then you got a whole 3-day weekend. The day off itself was amazing because you just got to relax with zero responsibilities, sleeping in, you know, playing games all day, not setting an alarm. I think that's what made it different from a regular weekend too. Because a bad weather day felt unexpected, you know, you weren't planning for it. It just showed up and gave you a random gift in the middle of your week. The only downside obviously though was when schools started going online, so you still have to log on and do work now. Which is probably better, to be honest, because I can just finish it and move on with my day. Regardless though, that's one of the most memorable days of the year in my opinion. And then there's just the random downtime moments that I talked about before. And I think these are honestly what people miss the most when they look back on school. Like the moments that weren't planned, the conversations that started for no reason, the games that just happened because nobody had anything else to do. There were so many stressful moments and just annoying parts in general about school. But whether it was Uno cards getting pulled out in the middle of a free period, someone starting a typing race that the whole class ends up joining, or just a random yap session, I don't know, maybe I sound cringe right now, but it's like the little moments basically that made it a little more bearable. At least for me. But yeah, school had its problems, don't get me wrong, a lot of them honestly, and I've talked about plenty of those before, but regardless, there's still good parts of it, and hopefully this helps you remind you of them. But anyways, that's all I gotta say about this. Sub, like, join the Discord, and follow up Twitch. I will see you guys in the next video though. Peace.